No call this week, you know, it means 24/7. Any problems happen, you're the one that has to cover it. So right now I'm headed to one of our facilities. We had one of the Stealthwatch servers go out, and I gotta go see if I can reboot it. Those are a little different, you know, a lot of things you have to use your console cables in. That one you've got to try to KVM to it, which means you got to hook a monitor with one of the old style blue VGA cables into it, plug a mouse and a keyboard in it, reboot it, and see if you can get it up into the user interface that way. So anyway, I'll kind of show you. I'll do a little bit of videoing while I'm there, and you know, show you what I'm doing, and we'll see what happens.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
So what is a Stealthwatch server? So what Stealthwatch does, it's a security analytics tool, so it allows you to view everything going on in your network, and allows you to kind of set a baseline. Before you can notice any anomalies, things that are different, you have to know what's normal. So this is a tool that allows you to capture all the packets, the devices on the network, and what they're normally doing, and create a normal baseline, and allows you to monitor real time for any kind of threats, any kind of different attacks on the internet or anything coming in. So anyway, it allows you a real-time view of your network, to be able to notice any little differences that you need to look at. We are in here working on the KVM, you know, trying to get into the Stealthwatch monitor. So I'm going to kind of log into my laptop. What we're going to have to do is power this thing off and then power it back on to see if it's working. So you may be asking, what is a KVM? Well, that's a kernel-based virtual machine. It allows you, when you're going into a server or something that's a Linux-based server, it's embedded in it to turn it into like a hypervisor to where you can get into an interface. So when you hear them say KVM, it just means that you basically have to plug a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse, and you use that Linux kernel to get into an interface where you can program the device or look at different settings in the device. So today we're in here looking at the Stealthwatch monitor. I'll kind of show you what I'm looking at. So this is the server. So you can see it's got redundant power strips, so if one goes out, the other one's working. The lights appear to be green, but the thing is showing down. So anyway, what we're going to have to do, there's a VGA, those little blue cables here. We'll have to plug our monitor into that. And then there are some, right here, some USB ports. So we'll have to plug in a USB, a mouse in one of them and a keyboard in the other one. And then we'll have to power this thing off and then power it back on and see if we can pull it up on the monitor. I tested my monitor. I brought the monitor and keyboard and everything, so test all that at home, make sure it was a good working monitor. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. So since nothing ever came on the screen, that tells me that the server is dead. You know, it's not doing any output, even with power booting it and everything. So basically that means you're going to have to do an RMA, like a return materials request, so they can send you out a new one. Now you can tell, you can see the lights blue on the monitor, but nothing's showing up on the monitor. Ooh, probably because of all that dirt. No, so one of the reasons for that is on these types of devices, they're not plug and play, so you have to power off the device, power it on, and capture it while it's kind of coming up. So I've plugged in my VGA cable. Now I'm going to plug in, these are USB ends. So now I'm going to plug those in. And once those are in, should be good to go to test. Generally on these, they're located, we have our core equipment in here. So usually these things, the cables, that's what they're plugging into. You know, 2 of the ports on the core, and that way you can catch, because all the other switches connect to the core. So by monitoring the stuff from the core, you can capture the traffic coming through the whole facility. Here we are, guys. Newt came out to help me with the Stealthwatch server I'm doing the video on. So now we got a mess. We got racks everywhere. You got to put these on sliding racks and all that. What you got to say, Newt?
It's a pain.
It's a pain. That's about covers it. Take it out of this one.
Yeah, take it out. Alright, okay.
Maybe it does go.
No.
There's one on this side too. But that, I guess that's screwed. I think this is the way it's supposed to go. Then when it lines up with this, that,
No, look. If you put a screw, make sure it's steel and fit. You see what I'm saying?
okay. So this is how it should go.
It's line up. Hold on, let's push it up again. That's the wrong way, isn't it?
This, yeah,
Okay. Alright.
there's always a little trick button.
Okay, when I pull it out,
Servers suck, guys. So guys, we finally got the new server put in, and you can see right here, I've hooked up my VGA cable, my my mouse and keyboard, and now we're gonna try to KVM into it. So I'll kind of record to see what's happening. I've still got to power it on, so once I'm powering it on, I'll flip back on the video and we'll watch it come up so we can see kind of what's going on. Hey guys, funny thing, you can learn with me. Hold on, let me show you something. You can see I finally got stuff to come up on the screen on the new one. Anyway, I'm so used to working with these switches, and you know, on the switches, one of the things, a lot of your switches don't have power buttons. The reason for that, you know, once you plug in the power in the back, they automatically come on. Now, the reason they do that is because when you have something relying on a network, if you have a power outage and a device goes out, when the power comes on, you want it to automatically come up. Otherwise, you'd have to go to every switch in the building. So they make them that way on purpose. We've been doing so many upgrades and refreshes, and it's been so long since I've had to deal with a server that, you know, it wasn't working. Even the new one they shipped me when I hooked it up wasn't working. So finally I went and looked on the front of it, and I saw where the lights were. I saw there was a power button, and it was kind of yellow, and I went, in fact, I'll show you what I'm talking about. That button on the top that's green, the power button, was yellow. So I said, what are the chances? I pushed it, it turned green, jumped over there, and everything started coming up on the screen. Which now leads me to believe, did I just order this RMA for nothing? Would the old one have worked that way? So there's a whole default passwords that come on them that you got to change, so I don't have to do all that. I'm going to try to plug in the old one. If the old one is working, I can ship this one back to Cisco, say whoops, sorry. So anyway, I don't mess a lot with servers and stuff. Like I said, we do have some servers and I've helped install them more from a networking side and getting them plugged up, but I don't usually have to get in them to do a lot of the configuring, so haven't had to deal with power buttons in a little while. So anyway, just you get to learn right along with me. I'm not perfect. These do have redundant power, so I pulled, there's the one power supply, I pulled the one power supply out and put it in right here. I'm going to plug up my VGA and everything and test it, because the old one has the passwords we put on it and everything else. It'll be a lot easier. I should be able to go right into the prompt. So anyway, gonna check that out. So anyway, got everything plugged in the old one. I'm gonna go look on the front. Yeah, see how the power button's yellow? We're gonna hit that. See it turn green? Now, if it works, I can just put it back in there. So anyway, we shall see. And a lot of time when these come up, when they first go into that boot, you just press Y. You know, it's a Linux kernel. So you'll just press Y for yes to continue. And then maybe 9 to go to the next screen. And then I think usually F8 to go to the CIMC setup. And then from there you can set your DHCP IP address. And once that's done and I hook it up with that address, it'll be online where we can have our guys that do the servers, or our level 3 guy, whatever, he can do the rest of it. Well, I do think it's working. It just came up with one screen, and let's see what it does here. It is showing some stuff on it, so anyway, I think it's going to work on it this time. Well guys, it was just as I thought. When you turn the power on, it worked. So I guess it just needed a reboot. So it's been down for like a month, you know, because lost power sometime and that power button wasn't pushed. Real important thing to learn though, on, you know, when they sent me out here, we have like a documentation, a knowledge document that we did up on how to go through that process. Well, I'm used to working on switches, and switches a lot of time don't have the power button. Some of the cores do, but most of your switches don't have the power button. So anyway, ended up and it wasn't on the back of the machine, it was a little button on the front of it. So most of what I was doing was back here on the back, so I just never did see it. So last time I was out, when I rebooted it, and it never came up. In the documentation, they just said to unplug the power and plug it back in, and once it boots up, be ready to do that. So I assumed it was one that booted up on its own. The documentation should have said unplug it, wait, you know, 45 seconds, a minute, 30 seconds, whatever it is, plug it back in, go to the front of the server. There's a power button that, if that power button is yellow or orange, push the power button and then it should become green, and then it'll show up on the monitor. So you got to be very specific. You know, you got to think, not only me, and I've been doing this 7, 8, years, not even counting school and all that. So if it can happen to me, then you get that network engineer who started and been here 6 months, a year, and you need to write your documentation so they can understand it. So part of the problem is the documentation that we had in there.
So just keep that in mind when you're doing it and you're writing instructions on how to do something. Do it so that, you know, somebody coming in brand new into this field could walk through that with pictures and everything and be able to get to the end result, you know, and how you word it. So anyway, that's got it up and going. Now I've got to take the old one out, put this one in, and anyway, have all that fun. Hey guys, so when I was doing this Stealthwatch server, I had trouble getting one of the rails. You can see they have sliding rails, kind of like a office drawer or something that slides out on them, but they mount in the rack. I got one side off and got it on the server we were putting back in here, but I couldn't get the other one off. We had to destroy the rail to get it off to send that other server back to the vendor. So what I'm gonna do, since it has one rail, they make a shelf that mounts in these racks. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. If you look, you can kind of see the rails will mount onto here, and then there's a shelf that comes back to about right here, and it'll help kind of support that. That way I can mount it a hole or two. You know, we mount it in these holes, and I can come up a little bit off the UPS so it's not laying right on top of it. And this isn't just balancing on top of the UPSs. So anyway, that's what I will be doing today. I've already put the shelf under it. I just need to lift it a little bit, so I'll find something I can slide under it to kind of hold it up and screw it into the shelves. Well, I found the perfect size box, so that kind of lifts it a little bit off the UPS. Well guys, I did finally get the screws in. Just so you know, I know how to put a screw in. I got them in here. Everything is in there real servo. You know, I've got it a good space up above the... That way, I wanted to do that though, if in case, you know, they have to remove the whatever you call it, the UPSs or something, and they wouldn't mess up the server. Hey guys, to see more videos like this, please click on the like and subscribe buttons down below, and click to be notified, and we'll keep making the videos, and you'll be notified anytime we're putting out new ones. Thanks for watching.